So something pretty interesting happened over the past day. We all know that Bandai Namco has been fairly busy as of late, with the free-to-play and downloadable Soul Calibur Lost Swords game recently coming out, as well as their extensive work on the new Smash Bros. Game, and talks of continuing the Tekken Cross Street Fighter series. It was kind of hard to imagine them working on anything else because they seem so busy within the fighting game department, and then all of a sudden, this thing shows up. What in the holy hell is Rise of Incarnates? At first glance, it really looks like Anarchy Reigns. We took a short brief glimpse of Anarchy Reigns made by Platinum Games about a year ago or so, and I wasn't too impressed by the game. I did find it to be a fun beat-em-up romp, but at the same time, whenever I tried to get into online modes or anything like that, it really just didn't function. However, this game seems a bit different. It doesn't seem to be the big scale battles that Anarchy Reigns seem to do, and it seems like a huge arena fighter, something that's very different than what we're used to in the States especially. I think the thing we can probably compare this to is maybe Final Fantasy Dissidia, but that game has a very, very, very unique fight style that's different from a lot of different fighting games. But holy crap, nobody saw this game coming. It's just interesting that this made an appearance now, because this is going to be getting an American release. Sometimes games like this don't ever see the light of day outside of Japan, and the only gripe I kind of have with it is that the character designs do look extremely similar to like Anarchy Reigns or something like that. War-torn environment world, and you know, all this stuff that very looks similar to everything we've kind of seen in other games in the past. Who knows, they'll probably grow on us. That's kind of the case with the majority of fighting game characters. They grow on you after a while. But the combat looks really similar. Like, I was already making that Anarchy Reigns reference, and I think that there's something else we can compare it to, and it's a game that recently came out on the Japanese PlayStation 3, which is the Gundam Extreme vs. Full Boost game. These games are huge in Japan, and I've actually had the luxury of trying them out every once in a while at a random arcade location, and these games blow up in Japanese arcades. They're like freaking huge, and that's hard to imagine for dudes like us that barely see the light of day at arcades anywhere, but they're really popular. And they really remind me of something that kind of harks to my heart, which is the Virtual On series made by Sega. Those games are freaking awesome, and they're just rooted in my childhood as well, and they play very similar in fashion. So this looks like that as well, and lo and behold, the more investigation you do, you find out that it's actually being made by the Versus Full Boost team. It's actually the same dudes, and it's the same combat engine, and they later on to go and explain that we wanted to bring this fighting game engine, this arena fighter style of combat, to someplace other than Japan only with their Gundam games. They wanted to craft a game around the similar style so that everyone else can enjoy this, not just the Japanese market, and that's a really good call. The other interesting thing about this game is that it's going to be a free-to-play PC title, and some of you dudes might not be aware, but Namco actually has a pretty big history now with delving into free-to-play fighting games. They did so with Tekken Revolution, and they're just releasing the Soul Calibur Lost Swords single-player game today, which we might take a look at eventually on the channel. And they did a lot of really good things with Tekken Revolution. They also fixed some issues, and they have the experience now probably to handle a free-to-play fighter pretty well. I think that they're kind of going towards that, you know, free-to-play market, the League of Legends, the Dota, and they want to craft an experience in a game that can kind of appeal to everybody around that, and the character designs kind of like, you know, resemble that as well, I feel. Things within the game look like they very much can kind of like please all audiences instead of just the anime audience, or instead of just, you know, the Tekken audience or the Street Fighter. They're kind of broad enough so you can kind of like feel, I don't know who this is made for, except that it kind of feels like it's made for everyone. Either way, I don't feel too attached to the way the characters look. I think the combat would be interesting. I've never been extremely good or proficient at arena-style fighting games besides Virtual On back in the day, and I wasn't even that good at it. But I'm just glad to see that Namco is taking things into a different direction. They also have a huge amount of experience with making amazing crafted online experiences with fighting games, including Tekken Tag Tournament 2 and Soul Calibur 5. Not so much Soul Calibur 2 HD, and I have high hopes for Smash Bros. Online, hopefully more than we've already seen. So they're probably one of the better companies to handle something like this, especially with it on the PC. You have a better chance of the netcode running really well because you have more processing and more resources available to you if you have those minimum requirements met. Either way, there is an alpha sign-up starting now. There is something that you can do to get in early if you want to join in on like the PC alpha and test the game out, but it looks like the game is not going to be seeing a release until much later this year. So in summary, Rise of Incarnates, a free-to-play Bandai Namco fighting game, is going to be debuting a little bit later. I'm going to be on this as soon as we possibly can, and if it's fun, man, if they have a good formula with these games and they really feel good to play, they could possibly be onto something, and I'd totally be down. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below around the art and style of this game, and are you interested at all? Because it's kind of a free-to-play game, we all get the chance to try it out, you know what I mean? Either way, it's interesting to see things being taken in a different direction. My name is Maximilian, thank you dudes very much for watching, and if you want to hit me up on Twitter or Facebook, I'm at Maximilian_ or Maximilian Dude on Facebook. Take care folks, and I'll see you next time.